Okay, perfect. So thank you so much, guys, for joining. Today is our last DataWeave class. But as I said, we will have many questions. We will solve different questions. I will share different questions in the Telegram group. I'm also thinking if you guys can also share different questions from what you from what comes up to your mind when practicing, or if you find any online interview question and if you find it interesting, you can share there and others can try it. But today, in our last class, we are going to see a couple of very important things, very, very important things. You will appreciate it. So let's start with this question, and we will solve it using the lengthy way. And then we are going to see how to solve the same question using the update operator. This update operator in the DataWeave Playground tutorial, this one is the last one. It is this one, update at the end. So let's solve this question. So we have, I just took one object from the airport's JSON data, as you can see. And the question here is round the latitude and the longitude to 2 decimal places. And I hope you are able to read this. Yeah, to 2 decimal places. Let me increase this to 200, 150. Yeah, perfect. Round lat and long to 2 decimal places, and change the time zone to -4 because it is daylight saving time now. So -5 is standard one in the US East, whereas when during daylight saving times it should be -4. So let's do that. So we can use if else here. I will go to DataWeave Playground here. If you want to try, you can just copy paste one object from the airport's JSON data, just open it, your file, and copy one object like this. Try it round these ones to 2 decimal places. This one change it to -4 is what we are doing. And the reason is we will do this using if-else conditions, and we are going to use update. So I will copy the data, which is okay, here, and I will save it as my input for my object. So let's come here, save this as my object. So here, my object, you can display it, as you can see, around these to 2 decimal places, change this to 4. So we can use if-else condition with map object, right? We have an object, then we can map, we can use map object to go over the key value pairs. So when I start map object, click enter, I have this value key index auto completion. So here, if key is latitude, round it to 2 digits. If key is longitude, round it to 2 digits. If key is time zone, change it to -4. Else, just return the key value pairs for this one, and for this one, and for this one, it will not change it. It will just return the key value pairs. So there is also a data type called key. So this keys here, they are not string, they are of data type key. So to change them to string, we have to coerce them to string. So let me show you what I mean here. So here, if I do key, type of key, so you see, name, latitude, longitude, altitude, time zone, all of these, they are not string data type, they are of data type key. There are different data types. So here I want to coerce this to string. That's why I'm showing this to you guys. So here, if key as a string equals to lat, if it is latitude, then I want to return the key, and the value now will be I will just round it to 2 decimal places. So if it is value as string format, then comes what we just saw yesterday. So dot, I can use 00 or double hash like this. So this is one. Well, so what we are doing here is if key, just we are, since the key is of data type key, we are converting it to string. If it is latitude, we want it to return key value pairs where the value is rounded to 2 decimal places here, as you can see. Now I can copy this again, paste, and I will change this to else if key as string is long. Again, if it is longated, key value and the value as string to 2 decimal places, as you can see. Let me make sure I don't have any typos. And finally, I have I can just bring this one, key, else if key as string is tz, I want to return here, let me copy paste this, or key, and the value now is just -4, or value +1. I can't put like that because we just have one object. So I can put -4, else if the key is not any of these, I want to return key value. Let me see, tz map object, okay. Key as string, if it is latitude, then it should give me the key, this one rounded to, oh yeah, here, here, format should be within the curly braces, format colon, it should be like this. So as a string, here as a string, then within curly braces, we put format and we put the number of digits we want here. So what have we done here? Let's see what we have done. Name and t-zone, they come from this else portion. So key value, they are not changed. Whereas if key is latitude, as you can see, we are returning, rounding it off to 2 digits. If key is longitude also, we are rounding it to 2 digits. If key is, on the other hand, tz, then we are changing it to -4. It was -5 here, now it is -4. So and also 2 digits, as you can see. So this is lots of if-else conditions. Yes, we can do it. It has the flexibility, but it is also prone to errors since it is long. Now we will see how to do the same thing using update. So this is it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will open maybe another DataWeave playground and we will compare that. DataWeave playground. Now let's do the same thing, but using update. And then we'll go over the update tutorial. So I will copy this one. Pay attention here, guys. This helps us to solve lots of seemingly difficult questions. Even if they may look difficult with updates, the lots of questions can be easily solved. So here's the same question again. This one will change it to 4. This one will round them to 2 digits. So with update, the format is, the syntax is you simply do auto-completion like this. Update, it starts with case. Let me remove this and I will explain one by one. It starts with case. Let's say, for example, we want to deal with latitude. We can give it any name. It can also be latitude. Case lat. So this is a variable name. At, which one is lat? Which field am I calling lat here? I'm calling this lat value as variable lat. I can also call it whatever I want, or latitude. not to confuse you, latitude. Here's latitude at lat. Now just bring this part. Latitude as a string, curly braces, format, 00 or hash. So let's see what we have done here. So you see we can use map object, and especially map object becomes inefficient if we have many key value pairs that don't change, whereas with update, we just update only the fields we want. So now here, what have we done? We are giving the latitude dot lat here is, we have dot lat in the object. We have this dot lat. It is here in this object, and I'm giving it the variable name latitude. I can also call it L or whatever. Now there is this dash angle bracket as usual, then latitude as a string format, and I'm specifying this format. Now I can do the same for longitude also. So for longitude, let's call this longitude. So here, this one changes to lone. I want to update lone key, the lone key value pairs, and I'm naming it as longitude. Now this longitude, also I am formatting it like latitude, rounding it to decimal places. We can update many fields as we want. Let's update the other one also. Case time zone, let's call it T. And case T, the variable name at, which field am I referring to? I am referring to this field. How do I want to update it or change it? I just want to change it to -4. So in here, I was just rounding off the latitude and longitude values, whereas here I am just hard coding it. So compare them. Compare this one, see, with this update, especially when you have multiple keys here, versus this if-else condition. So this is long and also tidy, whereas this one update is very neat. So now let's go over the tutorial and understand it better. So please pay attention here. Let me make sure I'm recording. Okay. So update is here. Increase the font is good. It says this operator is the one to use when you wish to change specific fields in an object. So if we have an object and we want to change specific fields, we can use map object, but we will be just copy pasting multiple key value pairs where they will not change. So rather than doing that, we can just change only the fields of interest. So it changes specific fields on an object while keeping all others the same. So here is an example. Let's see this one. Let's say age is increasing by 1. Let's say we want to increase age by 1. Var my data, I will call it, and paste it here. And my data is just this object. Let's see. Equals to sign. So we have this data, and we want to increase age by 1. So we do update again. Then we want age. So we can give it whatever variable name we want. We can also call it just age, followed by at. This is a keyword that should be there. At dot. Now I'm updating the age field. How do I want to modify it? I use a variable name now, not the dot add age, not this one, but this variable name. And I want to add 1 to it. So you see age has been increased by 1, now 57 from 56. I can also call this A, but I have to make sure this is also A. A, like this. So the variable name doesn't matter, but it is good if it is intuitive variable name. So you see how we updated it. And also here it says, here is an example where update is used to increase a value and even insert a field using the upserting functionality. So if the field doesn't exist also, it creates the field for you. But we add this exclamation mark for it. If the field doesn't exist there, create it. If it exists, modify it, for example. So in here, let's say, for example, a physicist of age 57, they are retired, for example. So we want to modify the data like that. So we can add here case dot status. There is no status, as you can see. So we have to add exclamation like this, and then have to code it to retired. So let me increase this. As you can see, this field is not in the original data. It is not there here, but we can just insert or create a new field by adding this exclamation. I can also give it variable name, like for example, status at this one dot status exclamation, which doesn't exist by default. If it doesn't exist, it is null. But now I'm hard to coding it to retire. So you see how handy it is. This is one example. They have retired is here. We can also use it to update an array objects in an array. Let's say, for example, we have now. Let's update the records in the airport's JSON data. We have multiple records, so we want the latitude and longitude to be rounded off to 2 decimal places. Time zone also. Let's say we want to change only for the US East part. So time zone TZ, we want to change it to -4. So we can use if-else conditionals also with update. So for that one, let me create a project. I will call it DataWeave Class-10. In the meantime, until this project gets created, we are going to complete the question in the tutorial. So okay, perfect. So let's see the question. I will come to this array later, but here, see the question. It says in the exercise, update the user data below. Usernames should be all lowercase, and the street should be this street name. So there is a street, its value is this one. Now we want to have to code it to this one. Username should also be lowercase. We have only one username. It is an object. It is not an array yet. Once I create the array, the Endpoint Studio project, we will see how to work with array. But now let's answer this question. So come here. By default, I think that's a payload. If I just write here payload, since I am in the tutorial portion, tutorial section, you see here is the object, which is this one. See the exercise. So if you answer this exercise correctly, if you answer it correctly, then it will show you that it has been done correctly here. In mine, it has been, as you can see, since I did it, it shows a tick mark here. But we can do it also in cognito mode to show you here. So DataWeave Playground, come here so that it doesn't remember the history. Come here, the exercise is here. So the payload is here. This is the payload. Now, bear with me, let me move this one here. Okay, perfect. So it is an object. So we want to change username to lowercase and street to that specified value, which is here. So what do? We start with update. Now we have case. So the username, I will just call the variable name, I will just call it username, but you can call it you also. The keyword at dot username. So this field should exist in this object, or else you have to add an exclamation if you want to create it. Now I do lower of the variable name, because this variable name corresponds to the value of this key. So put it here. Now we have changed this to lowercase, as you can see. So what we are doing is the value of this key, we want to assign it this variable name, and we are getting lower of that variable name, changing it to lowercase, that means. Now pay attention here. It is not always just dot like this. We have to specify the exact path. So in this case, street is under location, under address, then street. So to change that, what do? Case street is a variable name at, where is it? At location, as you can see, we have location, under location, dot, address, and dot, street. Now this one, I want to change it to this street name. Yeah, this one is what I was telling you. So if your answer is correct, it shows you this green color and says good job or something. So that means this one, we did it correctly. If you did it once, then when you do it next time, it may not show. That's why I opened incognito mode. But this one, see how easy it is. Like using if-else conditions, this may not be as easy as this one. The keywords to remember here are, we have this update, then the curly braces. We start with case. We give it whatever variable name we want. That variable name will correspond to the value of a key. This at is a keyword. Then this one is dot. It should be with dot. It should start with dot. Dot. This one is key here. As you can see, its value has been assigned to this variable name. So I can work with this variable name. I can lower it, upper it, multiply it, divide it, whatever I want. I can do with that. The other important thing here, though, is in the second one, it may not, what you update may not necessarily be on the top level. See here, we are updating street, and it is under location, address, street. So it is on third level. You have to provide the exact path like this. Case street, at location, address, street, like this. So yeah, practice with this one. Now let's see how to use update with an array. So we have this class 10 DataWeave. Okay, I will bring this here. And under, let's say, source main resources, I can create folder like before, new folder, and the folder airports. Under airports, I can just go to my computer. I have the data, which is airports.json. I want this one, right click on it, copy it, bring it to this folder, right click the folder, and paste. So here is airports. Now I can read it using read URL var, let's call it my input equals to read URL. So if it is in a project, the syntax is it starts with class path colon // So the class path takes you under source, refers to source main resources. Now under it I have airports, then airports.json is the file name. I have to provide also the MIME type, which is application JSON. Now, if I display it here, let's see, let's preview it. This is our data. Let's see. Yes, running. So this is our data. Now we want to round left and long and change TZ to -4. So TZ now it is not necessarily -5. It is also for Chicago and other regions. So we want only to deal with when TZ is -4. First, let's just round left and long. So this is an array. So we have to use map together with update. So map will iterate over each item, right? Over each object, this object, then this object, and so on. Now, after map, I have the value, and that value I can update it. So I use both of them together. That means okay, so map. Okay, map. Let's see. Was it control autocomplete? I'm checking autocompletion. That's fine. Map item index. Now item is now each object. I can update item now. Update an item index or value index. Now I want to update each value or each object here. So I put item update, then we have rounded latitude, as you can see. The same thing for longitude. Let's call it M. I just wanted to show you the flexibility. You can give whatever variable you want, but you have to make sure this one and this one are the same. So, okay, long. Yeah, I have to change this to long. Long also. So now we have rounded off left and long, as you can see. Now let's see if the time zone is -5, we want to change it to -4. So we can also use case and if else. And case t at -tz. Now after that, if tz equals to -5, then tz +1 or -4, like this. If I do like this, case t at tz, case t at .tz, if, oh yeah, the variable name, not tz. I work with the variable name. Now, this one, the value of this one, I am assigning it to this variable t. So I'm checking if the value of t is -5. If it is -5, I'm replacing it by -4. So you see, we rounded off latitude, longitude, and also the time zone. For the USS, we change it to -4. We can also, let's say, for example, we want to replace also airport name by something else. Let's say this airport, let's say replace it by ABC. So I can put the same thing, case airport at .name. Now, if airport equals to this one, then I want to replace it by APC. Yeah, so we replaced it here, as you can see. So we can use update to update we objects specific key value pairs in an object, also by integrating it with map in an array also. So this is very handy. Okay, did I forget something here? Where is it? L. So here, L is my variable. I'm working with L. M is my variable. I'm working with M, T, TZ. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay. Okay, perfect. This is update. Now let's see the next part. Hiding sensitive data or masking sensitive data is what we are going to see when we have especially social security and stuff. So before that, I want to show you a little bit about regular expressions. You are not required to know the whole of it right now, but you will work with it. So it is good over time if you practice bit by bit. So we will see very basic regular expression today. Regular expressions are used for searching a pattern in text. So I will share this one and this one. You can bookmark them. So let's say here, this is regular expressions are also called the rejects. So this is a cheat sheet, simply summary like that you can use as a quick reference. And first, let me show you something here. Let's say we have social security number. Let's say random dummy social security number 777-77-99999. So let's say we have the social security number, and in your data I have social security number. Now we are required to mask the first 5 digits or something like that. Or maybe the first 6 digits and so on. How can you do that? So regular expression becomes handy in such cases. So we have to match this portion first and tell DataWeave to replace that part by something else. So for numbers here in this section, we have, usually we use these ones. Within square bracket 0 to 9 is just a digit in the range 0 to 9. A to Z means a character in the range A to Z in lowercase. It can be in uppercase also, or you can put lowercase and uppercase together here. A to Z, lowercase the first part, uppercase the second part. If you want letters and the numbers, you put like this, letters also in uppercase and lowercase and the numbers and so on. Now we want to use the numbers only right now for our case. We just want to match numbers. So we will use this part. The other thing we will need is also this one. If you have a number within curly braces, it means A 3 times. Here, A 3 times. Whereas this one, it means A at least 3 or more. This one, it means A 3 to 6, from 3 to 6 times. It matches A as far as A is repeated from 3 to 6, it matches it. And so on. The rest you can go over this one, but let's just see masking social security number first. So we want to match this pattern. So we have the square bracket 0 to 9. And we say to match the number of times we put curly braces 3. I want to match this part, the first 3. And so let's add the second part. So it tries to match the whole pattern that you give it. Now 0 to 9, 3 times, I want it to match this 777. Okay, let me close this. Now I have a dash. Again, I have 2 digits, whatever they are, I don't care. I just want to match numbers. So if I do like this, now as you can see, it picks these 5 digits. Now I can replace these digits like this. And we can see even with replace in here, let me. So if I have some social security number, we say the 777-77-9999, then we can use replace that we were using before, but we didn't use the rejects before. So replace, and to tell that it is a regular expression, our code, we put it inside this forward, 2 forward slash, we put our code here. And I just copy paste this code, and bring it here. And put with, for example, like this. How many of them? 5. 1, 2, 3. I can do like this. So you see, we have replaced, now we have masked, replaced the first 5 digits of the social security number and left the last 4. So you can see how handy or flexible the regular expressions are. So I will share this one with you, this link. It is regular expression online tester. You can put any string here, then try to match here. It will tell you if it matches or not. Let me share it to the Telegram group, that is better. So I'm here. And also this cheat sheet also. You don't need to remember all of it. You will encounter it as you work more, but now just practice with the basics. And here, okay, so that is regex. We saw how to replace digits, or if we have an address, let's say we have an address also with house number, let's say 3400 Peace Street, Maryland, USA 21067. And now let's see what we want to do with this one. Let's say we want to replace just the house number. So we can do the same way, replace, then 2// our regex, we put it here. So the house number, let's say we don't know how many, if we know the number of digits, we can just put the number of digits like this within square bracket, 0 to 9. In this case, it is 4 times. Let's say it is known. Let's start with this one. 4 with like this. Okay. As you can see now, the other thing here is it replaces the zip code also, part of the zip code also. So we have to tell it the house number comes first in the beginning. So I want you to replace only a pattern that matches this and is found in the beginning of the string, is a string. And for that one, you can see here, where is it? We have negation here. If it is inside the square bracket, if you put this ampersand, this sign, ABC, it means except ABC. Also here, A to Z, it means anything not in the range A to Z. But if you want to mean starting with A, we put it outside. Let me see where it is. Research. So this is start. The $sign is end, I mean not start. It's end. Start is here. We put it outside. So if I put this like this, it should start. If I put like this, I'm saying match a pattern of 4 numbers that is found in the beginning is what I'm saying. If I want it in the end, that means if I want to replace the zip code, here I have to put, it should end with $sign. I guess, was it $sign? Let's see, maybe I have to put it in the end. Yeah, $sign, probably here. What did I replace? It replaced only 1. Okay, I have to put it maybe after this. Yes. So see the difference now between this one and this one. Actually, what we can do here is let's create var address equals to this one. Put it here. Now I will create an object. And here, this one, zip masked, zip code masked, comma. I will create home number masked is the second one that I want to create. That means the 3400 house number masked. Now I have this object. Okay, replace. What do I want to replace? Address. I have to bring address here and here. So if I move this here, what do we have? Yep. Okay. There are difference. This one for house number. I'm telling it, since I know it starts with house number is in the beginning, I am telling it replace any, and this one I can put rather than asterisk to differentiate them. House number masked, for example. Whereas this one I can put it zip code masked. And let's see a couple of things here. We can be more creative and explore different scenarios. I will decrease the zoom. So from this address, for zip code, our regex is here, 4 digits from 0.9. They should be in the end. The dollar sign here is the end we have here, whereas this one is in the beginning. So as you can see, I have put it here and this one here. And if the number of digits is not known, or if you know just the minimum value, you can just put comma here. Here also I can put comma. So the zip code, for example, let's say sometimes it is 4, sometimes it is 5, sometimes it is 6. Actually, it is not. But if that is the case, then we can put the minimum number up to, if there is a maximum also, we can put. The zip code is 4 to 6, not here. It is 4 to 6. So the difference, if you see here in the zip code, we have zip code masked, right? If I just exclude the 6, since zip code is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 2 will not be masked. It will mask only these 4 digits. See here. 2 is here, 2 zip code masked. Whereas if I put 4 to 6, or if I know the exact digit, I can put 5 also, then it masks it. So this is regex, especially with masking social security number. That is a common use case. You can practice with that. Now the next part that I think I should give you some 15 minutes break, and then we are going to continue. This is very interesting. So let's have 15 minutes break and we are going to continue. Great. I will drag and drop transform message, and I will call it mask object, and I have some data here, then I will explain to you the use case. I think it is better if I write my code here so that when I share the project, you can get it. So rather than in playground, I'm putting it here. And I will write what we saw before also. I will include it here in the DataWeave Class-10 project. So let's say we have this data, this object, my data object name, first name, new last name, max age 45, social security number given there. Now the requirement, mask age and the last 5 digits of the social security number. So what we are going to do here is we will see different ways. You will see some of them are easier than the rest, but just practicing doesn't hurt. Also, you will appreciate also, when possible, writing easier to understand and shorter code is good. So first way, let's just use if else, for example, like what we did before. So my data I will use map object. So what I'm going to do here is map object. If the key is age, then replace the value by double asterisk. If the key is social security number, replace the first 5 digits by asterisk, 5 asterisks. Then otherwise return key value pairs as is. This is the traditional way. So using map object. So why is this control? Okay, it works. Control space, auto completion. Okay, so my data map object, I have this one, gives me the initial template. So click enter here. So what I will do is if key, we have to change it as a string to convert it to string, as we say the data type, because it is of type key as a string. If this is age, then we want it to return age double asterisk, or I can just put key and the value like this. Else, if key as a string is equals to social security number, let me change this to n, social security number, then we want it to return key and the value partially replaced. So the value we have, which is this value, right? Value, we use the replace by, we saw in the DataWeave. So what we did was here, we have it here actually. This is a social security number. To replace the 5 digits with 5 asterisks like this, we put 0 to 9 3 times, followed by dash, 0 to 9 for 2 times, replace that by this. So I can copy this part. Copy it and paste it here. Else, let me make sure I don't have any typos. Else, I want it to return key value. That means it will not modify the rest. I will try to understand your question better. Okay. So we have this value key index. If the key is age, the value, it is going to return this key value pairs. If the key is social security number, also you see the value is, if in this case value is this number, we want to replace the first 5 digits with 5 asterisks. Else, if we have multiple key value pairs, they will be returned untyped. So preview this, we have this one. So this is one way to mask values, either fully or partially. If we want to replace it, to mask it partially, we use regular expression. Let me put this in a new line for readability and move this here. This is one way. Now let's create the rest as variables. So I will copy this again, click this add new target. I will create variable. The variable name, I will call it just way2. We have way1 is the payload, way2, or using update. Let me name it using update. Let's see how to do it using update. We can also save the code in file so that it doesn't get added to the source code if you want. And we say that is recommended usually. Okay, so if I just click OK, paste this here. Now I will use update rather than map object, and with this if else conditions. I just want to use update. So we preview the data first. This is the data. So update control space. Auto completion is what I'm looking for. Okay. So case age at dot age, see how simple this is. Replace it by like this. We have replaced age already. So created the variable, the value of this key, which is this one. We are calling it, giving it this variable name, and replacing it by this hard-coded value. Social security also the same case. Social security number at this one. So you have to remember this. It starts with dot, and especially when you have nested data, also it should be the exact path. So I bring it here, then bring the replace path, just like before. So here what I will do is SSN replace regular expression // inside it 0 to 9 2 3 times, followed by dash, followed by 0 to 9 any digit 2 times with asterisk asterisk dash asterisk asterisk. So let me see what error is here, why it is not working. Okay. Here's SSN at dot SSN. We have here SSN replace. Oh yeah, this one. Thank you. Replace the first 5 digits with 5 asterisks. This is another way using update. So you can compare the difference between this code, and from the drop down, you can see for the payload, this code versus this code. Now, let's see the update function from the util values module. Let's go there. Here, there are actually lots of important functionalities that I would like to cover, but we don't have time. We will practice it through the time by answering different questions. So I will share questions with hints how to solve them, like links and functions to help you solve them. That way, over time, we will cover as many functions as we can. So under this module, we have update, we have mask. So we can use this mask also, but we have to import it, as you can see. So to import it, we just copy this part, import asterisk from DW :util values. So I will bring this here. First, let's create another variable. The name, I will call this using util function. And I will copy the data from here. This one is even easier. What did I copy? Did I copy the whole data? Let me see. Copy the whole of it. Go to the drop down using util. Paste this here. Oh. My data. Let me display it here. So we have to import it. To import it, we do import either specific function or all functions. All functions from that module, we just do asterisk from DW :code was it util values. Let me check. Yep. DW util value, so doesn't have core. So now we have mask here. We can use just mask from that function also, the mask function from that module. So for this one, it is like replace mask field with. So, oh, we can see the documentation first, actually, before we answer this. Let's see the different examples they have here. So you give it the value. Let's see from simple examples. Here, for example, we have an array of objects, one object here, increase the zoom 225, okay. And I can copy it from here. to here actually, and remove this. So what you see here is we have an array. We have this array. We have name and password. So this array has two objectives, name and password. We want to mask password. You simply put mask the field name and then what you want to mask it with. Mask field password with this many asterisks. You can also simply do mask password without even adding the field, I think. So yeah, so as you can see, it is masking the whole password field. But if we want to replace it partially, we have to use regular expressions. But you can see how mask is so handy. And I was here, yeah, that is one example. In this one, let's see what it is. Oh, it copies the whole, including the header. So if I comment it, start from here. Oh, this one is like what I said, without adding the keyword field. You can simply put this is a keyword and replace it. We like replace mask password with this asterisk. And it can be also using indices. You can replace using, you can mask using indices also. So here, mask index 1 with false. Index 1 is, the size of this array is 2. Inside, it is array of arrays. This one is also of size 2. This one is also size 2. So index 1 means in this internal array, it could also be nested array. It is this true. Here also this is true. So both of them will be changed to false, as you can see. So this is of index 0, this is of index 1 in this internal array. This is also of index 0, this is of index 1, this internal array. So it replaces them with false. That is why you see false here. How cool. Okay, perfect. That is mask. So let's do that using mask. In our case, also, we can replace age and social security number the same way. But we want, let's first replace the whole of social security number and then we'll mask it partially. So mask age with, if I do like this, let's preview it. We have masked age. We continue again, mask social security number with 3 asterisks followed by 2 asterisks followed by, what it for, like this, 4 digits. So we masked the whole field social security number. But if you want to mask part of it, we have to use regex here also. So let me show you this one. Copy this, select the option, create a new variable. Okay, does anybody have any question here, by the way? Let me see. Yeah, we can add new fields using update. We did with one of the questions before, right? So in this one, for example, using update here, let's add, what shall we add? Address that exists. So we want to add address. So what we can do is we just used, for upserting, we add exclamation. Case, there is no address, as you can see, address at dot address exclamation, then the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, my address, something like that. So we added this field. If the field doesn't exist, then we have to put this exclamation mark. And we can also even do, if it doesn't exist, do this. If it exists, do this, and so on. Yeah, by the way, for updates, there is very nice documentation. Let me share that documentation with you. Where was it? Under operators. this one, we will quickly see this one. I should have, maybe I bookmarked it. Let me check. MuleSoft DataWeave update operator. Read this documentation. It is so nice. Very well documented. Okay. Let me share this to the channel and then I will read your question. Yes. Yeah. It is in the example also. We can also use if-else conditions and so. Let's see even, it is a good question actually. Let's see, let's quickly go over this add operator and I will explain the different questions they have here. They have this example. If we bring it here, the zoom level is 150, you can't see it. So first, let me remove this. So we have name, last name, and age. And it adds, let's what it is doing. Oh, this one is using the if-else condition, and it wants to, they are comparing with just using updates. So this one is using map objects, the same as what we just saw. Now, let's see the next part. Where was it? Which one is update? This one. Oh, okay. Yeah, this one. Now using update, you see here, they have this example. Age, just adding age by 1, not that different, nothing special with it. I will bring this to here. I want to go over the examples. They have the format of the expression here. You can see, you can go over that. Here they are going to the full address. You have the exact location. If it is nested, you have to give the exact path. So here, the use case here is to change street and address, street and zip code. So we can extract this object itself, and that's what they have done here. Oh, it is only street actually. It is only street that they are changing. So age, just adding age by 1, whereas street it is under address.street. And have decoding it by this part. So this variable name is not important here. We can also use the $sign if you want. So here, for example, remove this case .h. $sign now corresponds to the value of that age. I can do $sign plus 1. But until get used to it, I think you can use the explicit, putting the variable, the explicit expression approach. That you can do, like you can use also $sign, and here they have an array. See here what they are doing. They want to replace this address. Let's do this together. Okay, it is the same data, actually this same data, but now replace pose street. Not the same data. It is like an array here. So you can extract the data from the array by using array indexing. So bring this, copy this here. So if you see here, we have square brackets here. To get to this object, we do addresses of 0. So addresses of 0, since there is one element, which is just an object, it will give us this object. And that object, we are replacing it. We are hard decoding the whole part, the whole object. We are hard decoding it by this part. And let me see if there is anything special here. You can also use dynamic replacement using placeholder, $sign, and brackets that we saw a couple of times. Conditional also, we saw also conditionals. And if the field doesn't exist also, by default, it is null. See this one, let's see this one. This is very interesting, actually. I will paste this here and show you what I'm doing. So we have this input. So if name exists, just return name. But if name doesn't exist, add name to it. So in this one, we will not do anything, but in this one, we will add name. So how do we do it? Map, update. Now, it was only name. Yeah, okay. Case name at dot name, we add exclamation. And if name is null, then we replace by John. Okay, wait. Let me see. Okay, so it is here. So case update. Case name at dot name exclamation if it doesn't exist. So we add exclamation to handle if it doesn't exist, equals to, by default, it is null if it doesn't exist. Then if name is null, put John. Else, upper, we are giving it variable name. Name this one. Let me see. My input. Oh, this is an array. I have to use map first. So map value index vi, then v update. Wait. Yeah, it is an array. So map value index, take the value, update, case name at dot name. If it doesn't exist, if name is null, put John. Else, upper of name. What is the mistake that I have? Oh yeah, here's this one. They should be together. That is, oh no. Oh, and this one is not equals to, it is like this. Okay, this is tricky. So what we have done here is, if name doesn't exist, we are adding John. If name already exists, we are changing it to uppercase. So that's what we are doing here. You can see the input is an array. That is why I have to use map. And for each value, whatever I call it, I'm calling it v here. If name, I have the key name. If it doesn't exist, the value I'm replacing it by John, we can put it uppercase. Or else, if it exists, take the uppercase of it. So anyway, generally go over that documentation that I shared here. This one, it is very nice. Okay, yeah. And what did I want to cover? The rest part that I wanted to cover was, so we saw here, yeah, with mask, let's see replacing only some part of it. So with update, we have seen how to replace some part of the social security number. With this one also, if else condition, also we are replacing some part of it. And for utilizing mask, here we are replacing the whole of it. But now let's see, using partially replace it the first 5 digits and create as variable using util2. I'll call it using util2, second approach, then paste it here. So what do we do here? This is our object. If I do like this, this thing, it is quite involved. It needs more practice. So yeah, please spend time with it. This is the advanced part of DataWeave. If you feel, if this is somewhat overwhelming for now, that's completely fine. So now we have imported the mask function. So here, mask age with this. Yeah, okay. Well, you is doing it here. Running. No, I'll go here and come back here. Okay. Now let's mask the social security number also, part of it. So mask social security number with, let me make this a new line actually, with, so I need the regex part. Okay, bear with me for a sec. Yeah, this is very somewhat tricky. We have, so this was the value of the social security number. We can use $sign for it. So dollar sign replace then what we just wrote before. I will copy paste the code for that. Replace and explain this for you. So let me explain what I have done. So we are masking social security number with, inside the with, we are just putting like hard code like this, but rather take the social security number itself, the value of this key, and replace the first 5 digits. As you can see, we are using regex here. Replace the first 5 digits with this asterisks is what we are doing. So the only new thing here is putting this $sign here. Okay, so that is it. So now we saw how to replace, how to mask social security number partially using 4 ways. Just using if else, using update. Actually, the update was easier for me. And in here, actually, we are masking the whole part of the social security number just with this. But there could be use cases where we are required to mask only some part of it. So the only thing is, and after we do masks, social security number with, here we put our regex inside this bracket. We put $sign, which is the value of this, replace numbers, any numbers, for 3 digits followed by dash, followed by 2 digits with this one. So that is it. With masking, you have to practice more. There is also update under the utils, under the values module also. This update, as you can see, lots of examples. Please go over it. We can see a couple of examples together. This one, bring it here. So update name with DataWeave is the same, like in this case, replace name with DataWeave. And replace name. Oh, replace is in a string. Okay, yeah, this is an object. So update name with DataWeave. Okay, that is update. One example, as you can see, just let me comment this and show the original data first. So name Mariano is a data, the object. Now update name with DataWeave. The value of name now gets updated to DataWeave. Let's see if we have more interesting examples. We can also put field like here. we can just put, I want to update the field name with DataWeave, the same thing. And you can also update indices based on indices. So if we bring here, update index 1 with 5, so 2 will be replaced by 5, as you can see here. And it can also update nested values. Let's spend time on this one. We have, let me comment this. So this is the data. We have Spider-Man and Batman, values for name and role AB. So role, for example, change it with superhero. So update, even if it is an array of objectives, as you can see, it is an array of objectives, not necessarily just an object. If you are using the update operator, you have to use map followed by update. But this function from the values module under utils just gives the field and what you want it to be replaced with. So update role with superhero. So now A and B have been replaced by superhero. That is update. Yeah, you can use it to update arrays also. Like we put field, when we update here, we put field. We can, if we are updating index also, putting index is, oh, this typo here. Field. Index also, we can put index or without it. So here, update index 1 of with 5. This one is more intuitive rather than just putting it like this. But both of them, they give the same thing. So you can update an array, an object, and so on, or nested data. You can also give the location. We are almost done here. This one is the last one, actually. So this is a more advanced part of it. Let's see. So in this one, what we are doing is, let me display the original data first. So we have user key under it contains another, the value is a key itself. So an object itself. So we have user is a key, the upper key, and its value is an object. So you can specify also under this path, update this field. So update, as you can see, we are explicitly telling it user, under user, there is a name field and replace it with DataWeave. For this example, it doesn't matter, but when you have more like when you have name under different keys in a nested data, specifying the path like this to update it is handy. Okay, so today, what did we see? Let me summarize what we saw today. It is a lot. So today we saw using if-else condition, rounding numbers, replacing numbers based on some conditions. We also saw the update operator. We went over the update operator tutorial in the playground. We answered the questions there. Also, we went over the documentation for update and the examples, lots of important examples there. We saw masking sensitive information in full or partially using update operator, using regular expressions, and also using mask from the utility module. I guess this is all what I have. A couple of things. So you have to spend more time over the documentation to understand, to practice it more. I want to show you one thing today, one very important tip. Let's say, let me ask you this question, then you will see how easy the solution will be, knowing shortcuts or tricks, how it saves your day. We have this data. Now, the question here is, let's add kids is null, and let's add another field also. Age also, even let's change it to null. Now, let's say we want to remove key value pairs where keys where the value is null. It doesn't convey any message if this is null. It depends on the use case, but usually if it is missing, we don't want to display. So we can use if-else condition using a map object for this one, since it is an object, like what we did, write code. Or simply here, we can put skip, was it null on, and we put, I guess, everywhere. Let's see. No, I guess I made a mistake with the okay, how to put it, but we have it here. Down here somewhere. This is the JSON format, right? JSON format, yes. I will share this with you. In the documentation here, skip null on, then equals to everywhere. What is the mistake I made? Here it is. Skip null on everywhere. If you put this, fill this, keys with null values, wherever they appear, it removes it. But you can also be specific if you want just to remove from an array or from object. Nulls if you want to remove from objects or from arrays or from everywhere. You can do that. So here, what's the mistake? Skip null on everywhere. Okay. Skip null on. I don't think I need comma here. Let me copy paste it. I'm so tired of these things. So what was the difference? Interesting. Skip null on. Skip null on. Interesting. What do you see? What is the difference? W, small letter.
Quotation, double quotation, single quotation.
Oh, should that matter though? Interesting. Ah.
W small letter.
Oh yeah, this one is small letter. Everywhere is one word. Okay, everywhere. Okay, yeah. Thank you. So you can see how, anyway, in an interview, for example, if you are told to remove nulls using if-else condition versus adding this short specification in the header, you can see the difference. So consulting the documentation, going over, reading different blogs, different articles, and also the MuleSoft themselves, they have lots of blogs to read, very nice blogs. So it is good if you read them. I have one last question for our very, you can consider it very advanced for those of you who are interested. And even if you don't understand it in detail for now, that's okay. As you read more, you will understand it. So let's solve this question. So last time we saw how to write functions, and we saw how to calculate factorials. So for factorial, let me log in here. I want to just annotate. Okay. Okay, so when we say factorial, like factorial of 5, for example, factorial of 5 is all the numbers from that number up to 1, multiply up times 3, times 2, times 1. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. If it is 6, it will be 6 times 5 factorial, because 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2. So I can put it as 6 times 7, 5 factorial. 7 factorial also, I can just put it 7 times 6 factorial, and so on. So in short, we can put n factorial equals to n times n minus 1 factorial. That's why we wrote a function that calculates this. And now using that, it is called recursive. It has many applications. So I want to show you another example with creating a range of data. If you have two data, start date and end date, and you want to create an array of data and join it with some data and know which dates have data and which dates don't have. So recursive, this kind of approach becomes handy for that reason. So let's first start with factorial again. So I will remove this. And we are functions, we said they start with the keyword fun. So factorial, like I'm calling it factorial, n is number. So the data type I'm defining here equals to. So if factorial of 1 and 0 is 1, so if n equals to 1, it is going to return 1. If I give it factorial of 1, it is going to tell me 1 because it is we are multiplying all the numbers from the start, from the given number to 1. Else, see this one, what we did the last time. Else we did, and here we said n factorial equals to n times n minus 1 factorial, right? So 6 factorial is 5 factorial times 6 factorial is 6 times 5 factorial. 10 is 10 times 9 factorial, and so on. So this one we can write it in code. That means we just call the function itself. So what we do here is else n times factorial of n minus 1. It will call itself. So what it is doing is, see this one, it is exactly representation. I mean, this part, the code you see here, and the math you see here, and the code you see here are the same. So n factorial, in simple words, we are saying n factorial is n times factorial of n minus 1. But if n minus 1, at some point, n minus 1 will be 1. When n minus 1 is 1, it returns 1. So the final result, if we see this, our final result, let's say factorial of 520. So what it is doing is, for 5, when I put this one, it first, n is 5, 5 times factorial of 5 minus 1, 4. Next, factorial of 4 is 4 times factorial of n minus 1, 3. Sorry, I messed this up. Which one was it? There, this part, let me read. Factorial of 3. And factorial of 3 itself is 2 times, no, 3 times factorial of 2. And 2 factorial is 2 times factorial of 1. Now factorial of 1, it comes to here, right? And the function is not, the function stops calling itself. It just returns 1. And so the result will be, as you can see, this part. It becomes like this. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So we saw this before. Just practice it and you will appreciate it. Now, let's use the same argument, the same approach, and use it for a real-world case to get an array of data between start and end data. So my function, I will call it, let's call it get data from 2, just giving it some entity function name, get a range of array of data from starting to end. So I will put start date. The data type is date, and end date, the data type is also date. Now, see how we are going to deal with this one. So we have a couple of if-else conditions. If the first one, if start date is greater than end date, then there is no array, there is no range of dates, right? If this one is greater than this one, because we are saying from start to end, and if the end is before the start, this should return an empty array, one. Else if start date and end date are the same, then it is just one value. If they are the same, it should return, I can put start date or end date here inside square brackets because I want an array like this. Else, see the recursive calling the function itself comes here. Else, what do I want to return? I want to return, I am starting from the start date, right? The start date is within square bracket, then concatenate that with, call this function itself. I will explain, give me a sec. Now my start date, rather than start date, I will add by 1 day because we are going from the start to the end. So what we are doing is, let's say, let me give you an example. We want, if you are working with arrays, right? If we are working with arrays, actually, let me answer the question from yesterday also in the DataWeave interview question. If we are working from arrays, I mean, we can create arrays using numbers like this, right? Using multi-line. So we can create an array 1 to 10 like this, and we saw how to reverse them and so on. But with data, we can't do from January 1 to, we cannot create arrays of data simply by putting the keyword 2. So we want to generate an array of data like this using this function. So what we want to do is, what was the DataWeave question actually? This question, it says, given a positive integer, return an array of the numbers from that integer to 1. Okay, let's answer this question before we get back to here. So let's say given integer var, given integer equals to, let's say, 5. Simply, I can put this here, 1 to 5, and then reverse them like this. If you want, I want to reverse it, I use from -1 to 0. We saw this. So this is the answer for yesterday's question. So we can use 2 here, which is makes it very simple. Whereas for an array of data between start and end, we are writing a function. So they are different, is what I want to say. Here, if I put 6, it gives me 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If I put 10, it gives me 10, and so on. But now what I want is, if we have start date, let's say var start date, let's say 2020 0101 as date, and var end date also. We'll copy this, just make January 15 of the same month. So it should give us an array of all the data between the start and the end, inclusive. That's what we want to solve. So what can we do? Okay, now we can come here and try to understand what we are doing here. So if the start date is greater than end date, empty array. That makes sense. If the values are the same, it just will return one number. However, otherwise, what it is going to do, the start date, concatenate it with calling the function itself, like with factorial. But now the start date, we want to add it to the following day, because the previous day, you can say the current day, we have already included it in the array. So now in the next part, from 2 will become the start date plus 1 to end date. And then it will be from start date plus 2 to the end date. And then it will be at the end, start date and end date will be the same. And when they are the same, it is going to return one of them. And you see, since it is concatenating them at the end, it is going to return an array. So if we want to add a day here, the next day, as you remember now, plus this vertical line is P1B. This means adding 1 day, right? So as you can see, today is the 12th, but now you see it is the 13th. We saw this in one of the classes. I can do minus. Minus gives me previous day, plus gives me next day. With P, we can make days, years, months, minutes, seconds, and so on. But for our example, since we just want an array of datas, that means we have to add by 1 day. So the start date, now I have to add plus 1 day, like this. And let me explain this better. Exclude this. So what we are doing here is the same as the factorial calculation. We have the start date. Then next, like in here, what it is doing is this part, like this, and append to that, get datas from, rather than from this one now, since we are adding 1 day, it will be from 2 to this end. And this in return will be, I can put it in the next line. It will be this one. Next, this one will be 3. Let's do up to 5. Let's change this to 5 to make it simpler. Okay. Just forget what we see on the output. I'm just explaining what it is doing. So first, it puts the start date. Next, the function will be from the second day up to the end. The second date now comes and gets concatenated with this one. And next, this one means it means here I have to append this to here, and I will change. Let's change this to 3, just from 1 to 3. So it will give us January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd. So I will change this to 03, 03, 03. Okay. Probably it is better to copy this to. Okay. It is better to copy it to an text editor here, because error message is scary. Okay. So what are we doing? We want to calculate, get an array of data between the start date and end date. So what it does is, first it puts the start date in an array like this. Then it calls the function again, but now from start date plus 1, the end date still remains the same. This function by itself means the start date plus from the second day, which is 3 to 3. Now, this one and this one are the same. Since they are the same, if they are the same, it just returns this part, just one of them. So here, it returns this one. Let me add double concatenation here and remove this. So see what it returns. Like before with the factorial, it will return this one, double plus, which is concatenation. This one, double plus, this one. This will be the output. So let's test this. Come here. I can put, I don't need to tell the data type here because I'm passing the variable values now to the function. If we put like this, you see, it gives me 1, 2, 3. Now, let's say between January 1 and March 15, gives me an array of all the data. So we saw recursion, this advanced part of Mills DataWeave recursion. We saw how to calculate factorial, how to calculate, also create an array of data. Yeah, you can practice with this one when you later, but first go over what we covered before, over the documentations, do more exercises, especially the interview questions here, do them again and again. I will add more now, especially with updating, masking partial fields, updating arrays, objects, nested data, and so on. And also practice with the regular expression, matching regular expressions, go over the cheat sheet. You can also watch some videos on YouTube, but you don't want very advanced regular expression functionalities, just the very high level part only is enough for now. So now, if you cover all of this, you will be very comfortable with DataWeave interviews, and just forget the certification. Having covered all of this, DataWeave the certification will be easy. So this is all for today, and our DataWeave class, the last part of our DataWeave class. We are going to continue to the next part. What do we have in, let me see, our curriculum. So we will cover, now we will pass to RAML. We will also have some miscellaneous parts that we will cover later. These ones we have skipped, but we have covered all of these. This module, types module, is just for checking types. You can read about it. I think that is direct forward. Where is it? If I go here, when you write if else conditions, you can use the types module. It has all these functions: is null type, is nothing type, is number type, is object type, is period type, is range type, is string type, is time type, and so on, is time to zone type. All this type, it is just for checking the data type. If it is that data type, it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. When you write if else conditions, it becomes handy. Know that there is this functionalities. When you need them, you can come and reference this. And that's all I have for today. Let me know if you have any questions. What was one of the questions Tom asked? Let me stop recording and then you can continue. Stop sharing.